Welcome to the locker. Season 3. Episode 36.
Oh, shit.
I'm your man, A. Wife, along with my man, V. Styles. And we do have a special guest on tonight to talk about, I guess, what's going on with UK, what it is, what it ain't. And, but let's start. I want to say this really quick. I was on the show earlier today with Alan Cutler. Alan Cutler's new show. I was on this new show.
Oh, Cuddy?
Yeah, man.
Cuddy got you on?
Yeah, it is everything you expected. And I thought this coming out the box.
Ooh.
And I know you won't appreciate this because you're more political than I am. Everybody keep on tweeting for the past couple days.
Mm-hmm.
What time is the show? What day is it? We changed the damn show one time. We changed the date one time, and we went early. We didn't change the show. We just went earlier.
Right.
So we didn't have to stay late. So if you came in at 9, you caught everything. But so now everybody's like, what date is the show? We only changed the date one time because we wanted to get the guy from Tennessee on.
Facts.
But I got to talk to you off air. I may not be able to do next week. And it is the day before Thanksgiving. It is Thanksgiving Eve. So you may need that off with your family. I know you take 23 hours to cook a dinner. So
yeah, you know it.
We'll talk about it off the air. And our guest may want to join next week. I don't know his situation. We'll get into that. But before we bring him on, how's your week going? How do you feel about the Vandy game? Where do we stand? Before we bring our guest on and he gets introduced to how the locker gets down.
This is an interesting week for me. It's a lot of firsts for me. It'll be my first.
Whoa. I know it's unfiltered, but this is a family show.
Yeah, I know. I have I do have 2 kids, so that won't be a first. Well, at least I think I have 2 kids. I got to give DNA test. But it's the first time I'm coaching in a playoff game.
That's good.
It's gonna be interesting.
Good stuff.
And it's the first week of below 60-degree weather. I was gonna say 70, but I think it got 60 here once. So this is the first week of been 50 degrees, man, all week. It's cold for these boys down here. And it's the first time coming off a loss to Vandy. Shit.
Yeah.
Whoa, bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh. And the thing about it, not this Vandy team. If it was like a good Vandy team, then maybe okay, but not this Vandy team. Not this one that we gave up 24 bigums to. There ain't no fucking dude. I would have lost my marriage license, both my kids' kidneys, all my cars, my house, my parents' house, my sister's house, my grandmother who's 90 house. I would have lost my cousins' cars. I would have bet the whole everything that Vandy wouldn't score 20 plus points. I would have bet the farm, dude. And them MF would scored on that. They had to march 80 yards, dude.
You should be used to marching, man. You from HBCU country. But let me ask you this before we bring AJ on. Have you ever lost to Vandy?
Oh, hell yeah. I only beat them once. Shit. We only beat them once, right? No, we might have beat them twice. I might have beat them my freshman year and my senior year. We lost them fuckers like 3-6 or 10-3 once. It's like, dude.
Without any further ado, man. AJ, man. Hey, man, you ever lost to Vandy?
I did. We lost once. We went, it's my sophomore year in Lex. We lost to him. Yeah. And we got, I think his name was DJ Moore. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We put him in the league because that man, That man had a pick six and he scored on offense. We put that man in the league. Oh yeah.
He and Andre Woodson, y'all, did he?
Oh yeah. He went crazy on us. He went
Not
crazy
Andre
on us.
Woodson. I said Andre Woodson. That's the wrong one.
That was the quarterback though.
Charles Woodson.
I said Andre Woodson. Oh shit! At least I caught it.
But yeah, they definitely got us.
Big Blue Nation, Locker Nation. We'd like to introduce former UK. I don't know if to call you linebacker or fullback. We're gonna get to that. Let me know which one you prefer more. I know since I'm a running back, man, I'm taking you as a fullback. That's what I last known you as. That's AJ Nance, former UK player. You did beat LSU, number one LSU though.
We sure did. Did. We got stomped by them too, but we beat them. My freshman year, they got us right, boy.
Just for the people and ourselves, catch us up to where you at. And did you like linebacker better than fullback? And if you had a choice, you think coach made the wrong decision? Or
I won't say wrong decision because I got to play more at fullback. So I was never, and I've heard Van say this a few times, but I was never the most gifted or like talented kind of dude. I was just gonna work hard. Like that was my motto. That's where I was gonna meet people at. So for me, it was getting to play. They could have put me at 3 technique. I wouldn't have cared. I just wanted to be on the field and play. And so my first couple of years, I was behind Westwood at linebacker. So we all know what that was going to be. It wasn't, that man was cold. So like you weren't going to get to play over him. And so Joker had approached me with the idea of moving to offense, potentially getting some more burn. And so for me, it felt like a no-brainer. If I was going to get to play, hell, it didn't matter to me to switch sides of the ball. But if you ask me which one I like better, linebacker. It's what I played my entire life growing up. It's in large part it's easier because you can just blow shit up and ultimately like that's a win. Fullback, you got to get people moved in a certain direction, and a lot of times like they study film too, so they know what's coming. So it's a lot harder to be successful at your job. It's a lot more gratifying for sure, being successful at your job as a fullback, but I think I like defense more. I would have preferred to have played defense if I had had an opportunity, but I got to get on the field, so I don't fight it. Like it felt like the right move, so I made it.
Before we get to the meat of this thing, because it's one thing we're gonna discuss. Hey, Stoops alluded to it's gonna be some changes. I don't know if it means draws. I don't know if it means playbook. I don't know if it means personnel. I don't know if it means jobs. How was it playing for Joker, AJ? I played under him on the offensive side. I don't know how much Van had to do with him back in the early 90s, but mid-90s, I mean.
So it was early mid. I got named 3 years. Yeah, early, mid, late. I got right in that sweet spot. I was early, I was mid, and I was late.
Fair. I didn't have no problem with it. I think that a lot more of his coaching was probably related to receiver play versus because like obviously like that's where his bread and butter was. So a lot more of his kind of day-to-day emphasis on the offense was going to be related to the receivers. We had Coach Sanders, who was our quarterback coach at the time. So they kind of gave him the keys and let him run the show for quarterbacks. And then Joker was obviously the OC. He was overseeing everything and kind of like putting his emphasis on his receivers to be where they were supposed to be and make plays at that position. But for fullback, I mean, like, sure, he coaches, no doubt, like, obviously being the OC, but not a lot. I mean, fullback is what it is, man. You just getting down there to the meat. You get into the meat and potatoes, like, hey, get this man and get him moved. Like, I don't want to hear nothing else. There ain't no other coaching to it. It's, hey, we're running the ball right. Get this kick out block so we can get up underneath you and hit the hole. And I mean, that's pretty much what it was. But I enjoy Joker. I think like he's got an infectious personality. So the way that he communicates with people, especially being a black kid, like the way he communicates with us is, I think, something that was helpful in making the transition because I didn't have a lot of black coaches growing up. So it was nice making that transition and having him around. I think like he brings a sense of excitement and enjoyment to football and the way he coaches. So it's, in those tough dog days of August and like the middle of the season where you don't feel like being out there and practicing, I feel like that's where he leads to being a great coach and like having that emphasis. But I would say like in actual like physical coaching, probably not that much just because of the position I played, but I didn't have a problem with them and I kind of enjoyed having them around.
And before we move on any further, because we better get into what everybody came here to talk about, the Cats. And you are a Cat.
I am.
And I don't know if Van would concur on these comments. You got to leave all that bullshit at the door, AJ Nance. I don't agree with nothing you said about Joker. I feel opposite of most of the stuff.
Man, like I said,
the one thing that really opened my eyes to Joker was what?
Go ahead,
Anthony. But it could be a difference though for two things. First of all, when we were associated with him, he was a position coach without trying to get himself elevated, right? Second thing, he was younger and maybe a little more immature. Third thing, when you lead a unit, you don't have to be petty and in people's business because you tell your coaches to do that. Because I know what you're gonna say.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you are right about a lot of that. This is where everything went south for me. The reason I really had an issue, and I don't know if you've ever been to Cleveland, Ohio, when he said the first black coach he ever had. I did have a black coach in high school. He was the only black coach on the staff, and they treated him like shit. But he made a statement to me my freshman year that made me wonder, what did he think it meant to be black? And it really stuck with me for a long. That had nothing to do with the coaching stuff. It was I wasn't comfortable being there, and there was something he said to me, and I was like, damn, like that's what it has to be in the South and be a black man. So when he said, I'm not taking anything from AJ said.
You didn't say the South, did you? You did not say the South.
For South from Cleveland?
I mean, Kentucky's technically considered the South. Technically.
Ohio is not.
No, my whole point was in Cleveland that don't happen. No, what he said does not go in Cleveland, and it was nothing derogatory. It was just like AJ said, you always look for a mentor when you leave home, and I felt like we had a brother coach, and he said something to me, and I was like, really?
I would say I left out a key part.
I don't want to go to you for no more advice.
I was gonna say I left out a key part there too of like, I kind of knew Joker before I got to UK because my sister played softball at Kentucky. So he knew my sister. So then I kind of had already met Joker before I decided to come play football at Kentucky. So there was always a little bit of a different, I don't know, like there was a little bit of a different position in our relationship versus maybe like any other player. And that's not to say that I got preferential treatment because that was not nearly the case. But like I had already had some type of relationship and I had already spoken with him before he became my coach, and then getting to Kentucky. And of course, like he really didn't coach me for 2 years until I moved to offense, and then doubling down on that, I played fullback. So, I mean, if he's going to talk to somebody in our position group, it was going to be Derek Locke. It was going to be Tony Dixon. It was going to be them running backs. It wasn't going to be fullbacks. But all in all, I still stand by it. Like, I didn't have any problems with him. But that's not to say that, my experience was the same for everybody.
And I don't know. And I didn't want you to take nothing back you said. And your experience is probably completely different than my experience. Because like Van said, he was a lot older. I was just wanted to point that out. Everything you said, and he might have matured. Because everything you said, we were on opposite sides of the line with it. And I'm glad your experience was different. And you, like I said, you did have, but I don't want you sugarcoat nothing is what I was saying. And that may have been your true. That may have been your true feeling. I just don't sugarcoat that because our fans will realize that, and they will say, "Boo, boo."
Here's a story for you. In my 3 years of going through spring football, I can only remember having someone check the rooms for curfew during the spring once.
Who was it?
Once. You can guess who it was.
Y'all had curfew check in the spring?
Dude, it was,
Curry was no joke.
You know how it was, you have those involuntary, but those voluntary mandatory practices where your ass better be there, but it's voluntary. It was the same thing. You just gotta be there, but we ain't checking. Dude, the whole team, except maybe 6 players, got in trouble. And when I say the whole team, there was no, well, since everybody, no. We all had dawn patrol.
Oh, yeah.
We all 80-something players had dawn patrol because one guy checked spring curfew. Really? Seriously? Is that what? Really? All right, that's all I got. All right.
He busted us in summer camp. He busted us in summer camp.
Dude, summer camp?
Oh, yeah. So we had, I don't know how y'all setup was, but like we would have practice like all throughout the week, and then Saturdays would be like your scrimmage days, right? And they'd open it up to fans. They could come watch your scrimmages stuff, and like as long as scrimmages was competitive and people was playing hard, what they would do is they give you Saturday night off. So like no late meetings, nothing like that. You just had to be back for curfew check, and then you had a later wake up on Sunday. So we had a good practice. We basically finished up around 5:30. We did dinner that night, and then they gave us the rest of the night off. So all we had to do was be back in the dorms by 11, and then we had like a full night in the dorms, and then we had late checkout or like late wake up on Sundays. So I think this was probably my sophomore junior year, but like the dorm that I had, I could see down to like the front door of our dorm. So I see players walking out and sneaking out. So I'm like, I'm gonna just watch it and see what go down. So there's a couple people sneaking out, And I'm like, all right, that's not enough. It ain't safe. That ain't enough. And then I saw Jacob Tammy leave, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. If Tammy left, we out. If Tammy left, we out. So I wake my roommate up, and I'm like, yo, we about to bounce. Like, we'll just go to the house and have like a little kickback at the house. We'll come back early. We'll be good. And so we go hang out at the house. Room check wasn't until like 9. So we got up at like 7:30 and came back. We was like, we'll be cool. So we walking on campus. We get into the dorm, and full circle, Joker's at the dorm.
Damn.
So he's like, where the hell y'all been? I was like, oh, I went to the library because I had to pay. I was like, I had to pay a bill. He was like, you ain't had to pay. Hey, look, man, I ain't had no choice. I was like, I went to the library to pay a bill. He's like, y'all ain't pay no damn bill. I was like, I swear. So I had a bill in my, no kidding, I had a bill in my backpack. So I was like, yeah, I just went to go pay this. And he was like, oh, okay. So I was like, damn, we good. We got this. We took like 2 steps past him. He said, so where was y'all at last night when I checked?
Oh,
So hey, he was like, I came here to check, and there was 50-something people missing, yada, yada. And he was like, well, at least you got to get out because everybody running. So in my mind, I was like, well, hell, if I was going to have to run anyway, at least I snuck out and I'm running for the mistakes I made. But then we had to do field suicides, and I don't think we ran like, I think that's probably the worst condition that we ever did.
So y'all got him. No wonder y'all got the coach fired. Y'all wouldn't stay in and follow no rules, man. Y'all got coach fired, man.
We ain't getting nobody fired. No, I was under Coach Brooks, so Joker was just my OC.
Oh, okay.
He took over the year after I left. So hey, listen, I ain't got nothing to do with that. we all left on good graces.
Van Alvin Takashita played with me. Says he's in Gonzales, Louisiana, by Tangier Outlet. Tony Staten, T-Bird, told him he should stay Tangier. Said you should stay in Baton Rouge.
Yeah,
Gonzales, Louisiana.
And we talking about Tyler. That because we had a couple of T-bones. We had
no, I said Tony Staten.
You said T-Bird.
He was over at Dennis Johnson's house. Played running back.
T-Bird. That went to somebody else. That's okay. Yeah.
So he's just telling you he's in.
Gotcha.
Alvin Takashita is in Gonzales.
Okay.
All right.
No, Alvin. He can't.
Probably not. Possibly not.
Respect for the Alvins, though. Respect for the Alvins. I appreciate it.
Hey, and the funny thing, his name is Alvin J. Takashita.
Listen, he's on the right track. If it's Joel, he on the right track.
Hey, Ant, before we get started, I got one thing to say.
Before we get started, 25 minutes into
I know. I only won one time against Vandy. My senior year. Hold on. Here's the I did some deep dive research in that. Guess how many points we scored and Vandy scored in those 4 years? Don't think too hard. We scored 48 points total. Hold on. That's not good. I'm gonna say what Vandy scored 50. All right, in 4 years. Hold on. We scored 48, but we scored 25 in the last game we played. So you think of the 3 games, dude. We scored 7, 6, and 10 in the prior 3 years. 7, 6, and 10.
Wow.
And you said you went 3-1?
Huh?
You said you went 3-1?
No, we were 1-3. Dude.
Oh, 1-3. Oh, yep. That'll get you there.
Vandy scored 12, dude. Vandy scored 12, 14, and 24 and won all 3 of those games. Guess what we had to do to beat them? We had to shut their ass out. That's the only way we could beat them. Hey, as Coach Smith said, if they don't score, they can't win. That's the only.
Hey, and y'all defense was capable of that. Y'all were capable of
48
that.
Points in 4 years, dude. That is
all right. Let's get our viewers back. We are upon the Wednesday after a loss to Vandy. Van, AJ, where does the Cats go from here? Is it what is your barometer right now, Van, on us going 6-6? Extremely possible, slightly possible. I wouldn't bet on they wasn't going 6-6.
Ah, man. I just, yes, John, I was on that team. And we scored that 3 points at the Bball. That was a walk-off. That was a walk-off field goal. That was jubilation after that. The fireworks went off after fucking field goal. And that field goal was a long field goal, too. It wasn't like a 10 or 20 yarder. That was like a 40.
And it was rainy and wet.
It was rainy, right. Dude, I just can't see us. See, I couldn't see us losing to Vandy. But we lost to fucking Vandy at home. I just can't see us losing to Louisville because they haven't really played. Dude, that ACC is as bad as you can get for a major conference. They are not very good. And all the teams they play, dude, I don't trust anybody on their schedule. But we just lost to fucking Vandy, who ain't won a damn SEC game since what, 2011?
26 games, however long it takes to get 26 SEC games in.
That's a long fucking time. And to give up 264 yards, dude. 264 rushing yards against that team?
Does it matter to you that Cunningham is nicked up? Because I don't think he played the second half last week either. Like, he got hurt right before halftime, I believe.
He went into the game with an injury, I think.
He had like I think it was
hand?
his non-throwing hand
Yeah.
that he had to have like a quick surgery or
Right.
some type of stuff on. But he hurt his throwing hand at the end of like right before half, I believe.
We are everybody's injured at this point in time, and that's going to be another point of subject we got to get to. Will Van, we beat UCF. I mean, not we. Louisville beat UCF. They gave Florida State all they wanted to handle in week 3. They beat Pittsburgh, who gave Tennessee all they wanted.
Now you're doing football, man. Now you're doing that football, man.
I'm just telling you. You saying you looked at their schedule and said you called them fraudulent. You called their team their oppositions fraudulent.
I call the ACC weak as hell.
He's not wrong about that though.
I'm just being. I will say this. And this is shit. And this is gonna sound crazy because we just fucking lost to Vandy. But if we play in an ACC, we will go 9-3 with this team. And that's the floor. Because the only team that scares you is Clemson. NC State lost their quarterback. Boston College isn't good. Syracuse is a fraud that beat damn Louisville. Pittsburgh is a fraud. Shit.
I think Florida State's all right.
Florida State's all right.
They're not
great.
I was gonna say they ain't world beaters, but they're all right.
They're all right.
They might
Miami's in the fucking dumpster. Who over there gives you pause?
True.
I'm just saying, AJ. Do you think we rectify the shit before the end of the season? Well, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Do you think we do anything against Georgia? This is a locker.
I don't see it. I just don't. Like, one of the questions that I was going to propose to you all today was like, just looking at what we do and who we've been for 10 games, like offensively, what could we legitimately point to and say that will be successful against Georgia? And that can be like our foundation.
Pin and pull.
Has been successful, but we're talking about against Georgia, though.
No. You just asked, what can I hang my hat on? I'm not saying I'm going to hang too many hats on it. I'm not saying I'm not going to damn hang one of those hats you get from the restaurant, the little paper ones that you can just, they ain't got no weight. I'm just going to hang something on there. There ain't nothing else we can hang our hat on offensively besides that, to be honest with you.
If you they want you to get the ball out quick so they can swarm to the ball. So like, and Lord knows we can't hold on to the ball and do any type of progression level plays because we can't protect that long. So the only thing we got is to potentially try to run the football. And they've shown over the last 2.5, 3 years that is the one thing they're going to shut down.
Here's something else they can do. We all been raving about the wide receivers. And we do have young talent that is going to progress to be really good. Georgia got 4 guys who can guard anybody in the country. They can go man to man and lock your ass down and put 7 men in the box. And we really got a problem. Because 2 things, even if the offensive line is able to give us 4 seconds, I'm not comfortable that our receivers are going to get open. Not against that secondary and press man or press man or some off man. So it is going to be incumbent on us because play action fake ain't going to work if they go man to man because ain't nobody looking at your ass when you go play action fake. They are in your grill, smelling your breath the whole game. So that's an issue this week because them MFers, when they guarded Tennessee like they did a couple weeks ago, it's a problem.
Well, we got to get to the comments. And Gary Hornback won't allow us to let the show progress.
What's that?
So we're going to start off with him because he's been chopping at the bit to find out. And Van has spoken. I don't remember. Van, AJ, do we need to live or rely on the portal? And specifically, he wants to know the O-line. But do we need to live and rely on the portal? Is that something?
Are you asking me or Van?
You look like you ready, Van. Like he's trying to think of BS.
I put everything into food because I like to eat. It's a cake, right? We got all the ingredients to make a fantastic cake. We've got decent ingredients to make the icing. I think the sprinkles or the toppings is what you get in the portal. You can't establish and build a team out of the portal. You just got to fill gaps with that with your recruiting. Right now, our gaps are aligned. I think, like Van has pointed out multiple times, we could move some guys back to positions on the front line that they're more comfortable in. I think if you can piece together one or two good finds for offensive linemen out of the portal, that gives you some depth. That also gives you some options in maybe rotating guys up front, and you could patchwork a line together. I think running backs are capable of being found, and we've shown you can, or like multiple teams have shown, you can find really good running backs that can fit your team for a season or two while you bring along some of the other guys that we got. And we got enough guys that we don't need to hit a home run at running back, but we do need to get some depth there. And then quarterback's the other position that I think you got to look at hard in the portal. I think that's going to take a little bit of massaging because you got to figure out, like, is the line the issue, or was the line the majority of the issue, or was it play calling? And I think once you identify that and stamp that moving forward, you got to be able to sell what we have offensively to a guy that's going to go into the portal. And I think we got really good pieces. If we keep them, we got a really good sales pitch for people. But I just don't think you could build a team. I think you could potentially fill some holes, but you can't build a team out of the portal.
He hit it on the nose. Here's my thing, and O-line can be rectified with this. We got to keep this Kobe Keenum kid that we're recruiting right now. We got to get him. He is a center, and he will have to come in my opinion, and start as a freshman. If we can hold on to him, we need, because it seems like we have given up on Quentin Wilson. We have had two guys jump his ass. We had Luke Fortner last year and Eli Cox this year, which means to me they don't trust you. All right. So Kobe Keenum needs to come in and ball out and be our. They need to tell him, you are day one starting center, and we're gonna give you some, that magical thing, NIL thing, to have your ass come here. Because I've said this all the time: the middle of your team is the most important. Center, nose guard, nose tackle, inside linebacker, safeties. We get him, and we got to get on our knees. All BBN got to get on our knees and pray to Allah, God, Buddha, whomever, and get Kenneth Horsey to come back for a 20th year. He can go play left guard. Move Eli Cox to right guard. Keep Flax at right tackle. Not saying he's great, but keep him at right tackle and put Goodman at left tackle. But we are solid up the middle. And when you're solid up the middle, you can help them tackles. But you got to be solid up the middle. And I think that will rectify a lot of issues. If you put Horsey back at guard, Cox back at guard, and get you a solid center, we ready to rock and roll. I don't care who the OC is. I can come back and be the OC. You can make Eddie Grant an OC. You can get whoever you want to. If you ain't got the damn center of your offensive line nailed down, you are cooking a cake with no egg.
Never cooked the cake. But sticking to the comments, here's and I don't know if either one of you have the Cliff Note version or the snippet version.
I heard it.
I do know that Dikale Crowless was asked why we have problems in the red zone scoring. Not in the red zone on the 2-point conversion.
It was a red zone.
And he said play call. He simply, for a guy that ain't getting a whole lot of burn, he says play call.
Hold on. No, fuck that. Dude, we in the locker. I'm sorry, AJ. I don't know how long you're watching. We don't fucking. That MFer went backwards on a
He
catch.
ran out of bounds. That's
He
all
ran
I'm
out of
saying.
bounds.
That ain't got shit to do with coaching. He ran out of bounds.
You can't say shit to me. You get a catch in open field, make a good move, make one guy miss, and then your ass heads to the sideline. Like, I'm not gonna say too much more because I'm gonna get in more trouble. You can't say shit to me. Hey, when you did that, all words you is a wah 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 wah. I can't do. No, man. I can't trust you. Look, Anthony. What if, since Keo Sanford is in the house, what if Keo caught a pass, caught a hitch, and then just went sideways shuffle to the sideline? What would he be talked about in the locker room? You know how we talked in the DB room. I don't know how y'all talked in the wide receiver room. If he was in the DB room, his ass would have got toasted. You can't do that shit, man. No respect.
I think even with your play breakdowns, like, now we didn't protect it, but we had plays and we had opportunities in the red zone to score. And I mean, like, we only watched the first half yesterday, but on that first possession where we were going in, we had it protected well and the play call was right. The guy just made a play and batted the ball down. But, like, that ain't got nothing to do with play calling. That ain't got nothing to do with protection. Everything was right. The kid just made a play. And then we talked about the possession where they blocked the field goal. And we had 7. They brought 6. We didn't get it protected. And I think Tavion ran the pivot route and was wide open. That's not play calling. That's us getting it done.
So let me ask you this. Are y'all onto that? And I think we might, I didn't know if we was going to get the film or not. We may pull up a couple of these plays you're discussing just to, give the people the visual of what we are saying. Even with that, how do y'all feel? I know Van wanted to curse out little DeKale because DeKale is a wide receiver and he's a youngster. But Will, and this reminds me of the Joker Phillips and Mike Mintz, or what's Mintz? I think it's Mike Mintz. Whatever Mintz's first name was, his defense coordinator was going at it, and everybody pointing the finger. They asked the defensive coordinator something. Mintz, they asked him something about a defensive play call or defense stance. He said, "I don't know. I'm not the head coach." Ask him. It was a play call, and I'm talking. They was going at. Oh, go back, Joker's last year. Oh man,
Wasn't Brown the DC, or was he the sub after that guy?
No,
remember
Brown.
Brown DB coach that
he was my DC after Archer. I don't know if he stuck around with Joker though, but he was definitely my DC after Coach Archer left. Steve Brown,
my old slick, local music guy, youth or coach says he's saying the Kale is just saying what all the fans are thinking, man.
Yo, look, look, Mr. Slick, I don't know you. But on this level, execution beats everything. And the funny part about it is it's a play in that game that I know the Boo Birds came out on that would have been a house call if Barry and Brown would have then ran
north and south
to play correctly. It was a screen play. It was 2nd and 1. It was in the first quarter. It would have been a house call. But since y'all just see screen, you're like, boo, screen, we run 100 million of those. They fucking blocked that shit to perfection for one of the few times this year. And that shit was a house call. Dude, they had hat on a hat. It was hat on a hat, man. And when y'all just go off of motion and then off of the narrative that some of the media puts out and some of the uneducated people put out there, yeah, you can say shit like that. But when you got a guy whom I heard say bad things about a coach who ran the wrong damn route, he don't get called out because we don't know if he ran the wrong route. Fans don't know he ran the wrong route, but I know a couple of people who were very pissed off, and one of them was Will Evans. I would say he might have ran the wrong route, but you have the audacity, like Coach Smith, you tell us, y'all fuckers will get on the offense until y'all fucking need them. He's straight up said, y'all get on the offense. Yeah, they're not playing well, but it's going to be a game where your ass going to give up 30 points. And then you're going to be looking at like, dude, can y'all get us some help? So do your fucking job and keep your mouth closed. Here, I'm this last one. That statement by Crowders tells me a lot about the people in his circle. Because what's happened, the people in your circle are saying bullshit to you and telling you stuff. You going right along with them, but they ain't in the building. They ain't at practice. They gas you up like you should be playing. Why ain't you playing? They ain't at practice though. If they see your ass doing what you did in practice, maybe their tone will be a little bit different. And you are just going off of what they're saying, and now you're agreeing. And now, honestly, dude, I'm gonna be honest. I can't play with them no more. For me, if I'm a teammate and I'm a senior and I'm a leader, or I'm a prospective junior going to be a senior next year, there's some serious talking that we're going to have, because you can't throw people. Because if he can throw him on the bus, if he can throw the OC on the bus, what are you going to do with me?
Yeah.
The rule is you never open up the door to the locker room. You keep everything in-house, even if that's the way that you feel about the coach. You never expose that to the outside world, because it's supposed to be, it's 120 of us against everybody. So you never open up that door. And so to me, if you're going to open that door and make that comment, I find it hard to believe that you also going to stick around and try to like fight for these guys and like fight for this team moving forward. Now, that's not to say that we don't make a change at OC and he stays, but there, under no circumstance am I coming out there and blaming somebody about the performance that they're having, whether it be a coach or a player, knowing that I'm imperfect, because every single person has made mistakes on the field. If you've played this game, you've made mistakes. You've let somebody hanging out to dry. And so for him to come out and expose that and point the finger at somebody for our red zone woes makes me feel like we not one cohesive unit. And if that's the case, somebody's got to move. Now, I'm not saying who, but I find it hard to believe that we start next season with the same OC and DeKale still being on the team. Like, I can't see that without some real adjustments being made.
I'm going to say this. About piggyback on what Van said. And I'm going to move on to a couple other subjects, because they got the subjects rolling through here. Jeff Bedeck reared his ass, came out of the woodwork, said something. But hold on, Van. Van just said, and now hear me out, Van. AJ, hear me out. Van just said they ran a perfectly ran screen for one of the fastest guys in the country. Do you or do you not think I'm tired of running motherfucking screens, bro? Dude, I run a 10-2, not a 10 flat. I don't want to keep running screens. I'm a $165, $170. I don't want to run screens all the time. Now I can make it look good. Yeasty can make them screens. Keo can make the screen look. I don't want to run screens all the time.
Calvin Johnson, one of the best receivers in NFL history, all he fucking did at Georgia Tech was fucking stalk block. That's all he fucking did. Dude, he was a stalk blocking mug. He caught maybe 2 passes a game, maybe. Your fucking job is your job.
That's not
if
a screen.
You don't want to do your job, get the
You're not
fuck
running
out
to
of
the
here.
back of the traffic, not knowing if they're gonna get their block or not. You just said just stay so happy to get their block.
I got you. But this ain't little league. This ain't middle school. This is big time ball. You do what is called upon you at your best. If you don't want to, you won't play. It's that simple, dude. You know, when we played, our receivers were fucking glorified left and right tackles.
Hey, talk to them.
Real.
Talk to them boys at the end of them Eddie Grand years, or when they had Lynn at quarterback. Them kids would have loved to run a wide receiver tunnel screen. They would have loved the screen.
Do you know how many start blocking drills we did with the receivers when I was at Kentucky? Dude, that was a everyday drill. That was at least 5 minutes of start blocking. Off top, off rip. You knew right now, Coach, what's the practice schedule? I already knew we're doing start block. I already know we're doing tackling drills. I already know we're doing DB agility. Those are the threes that you in one-on-one. You knew you were doing those without question. Now these MFers can't run a dude. Come on, man. I hear what you're saying, and I understand it, but you can't do that shit.
Scott Mitchell, Scotty franchise played today. Hey, he don't concur with you, Van. He said, "Damn all that spot blocking, man."
I'm not saying this. I'm just saying that don't give me that shit that I'm tired of running screens. Your ass can't. You cannot get a ball.
Nail on the head. That's the other thing. That's about bad enough in the option back of the screen.
How the hell that was to the house?
The play was wide open.
It was butt naked open.
All he had to do is catch the ball and put his foot in the ground and get upfield. Because like the way the wave was coming with the linemen, all he gonna do is run off their ass and it's wide open.
It was nobody
there. Nobody catching
nobody there. Absolutely nobody.
Adam Bryant, it may be a question for Van. Adam Bryant wants to know, why is the outside backer crash in every single time on the read option? This happened all year, especially with JJ Weaver. And these guys not smart enough to learn their lesson?
That wasn't Weaver's fault. That wasn't Weaver's fault. If you're a defensive end and you have a contained guy outside of you, you don't have contain, which means you don't have quarterback. It's easy. Contain has quarterback. It's as simple as that. JJ Weaver crashed because when the guard pulls, you're supposed to seal I don't want to say crash, but you're supposed to step down to seal that cutback. I know when the game was played, I even thought like, JJ, what the fuck are you doing? Because I thought Lovett had man-to-man. He was trying to cover that. Nah, it wasn't man-to-man, it was zone. That first was on Lovett, and all during the game, he had a guy outside of him on contain. One of them was Trevor Wallace. He was sitting in damn cement boots on one of those plays in the second half. I'm like, dude, you haven't moved. You fucking just creating a grave at your where you standing at. So nah, that wasn't JJ Weaver. JJ Weaver is supposed to do what he did on those plays. It's like when you play corner or you play safety and you cover two and they run double verticals and the corner doesn't get deep on number one and the safety goes there late. Oh, the safety, what the fuck are you doing? It ain't the safety's fault. But everybody think it's the safety's fault. Everybody think it was J. Weaver's fault. It was not on neither one of those. On any of them, he was doing his job. His guys behind him were not. And that's on God.
Agreed.
God, no. Who's the others? Oh, so where do you stand? Where we stand? I know y'all got on the Kel because the Kel ain't got enough reps to be saying nothing to nobody.
Is Mino Crowder's uncle or cousin?
No, he is. No, Mino is. Now, Mino is with the kids. Now, he may have coached them. Mino get down with the kids. I like what he does. He gets down with the kids, but
I don't have. Listen, you just can't come out and expose what's going on inside them four walls. Like whether he's right or wrong,
he's not exposing the two people got into a scrap. They asked him what's going on in red zone. All he said was it was the play call. That's not in the house, is it?
That's in the house. That's in the house, man. Just tell them, hey, we working shit out, and go to the next question. You can't open that door. You can't.
We wasn't allowed to do that. We wasn't allowed to do that.
No one's allowed to do that.
You're not supposed to be doing that.
No one.
Man, Randall Cobb called out the fans one time. we weren't allowed to do none of that. Well, none of that happened, man.
I will say this: if you are a person who is, I can't think of a player. If you are Josh Pascal, all right, who does, from our standpoint, I don't know what's going inside the walls, but from the outside looking in, it seemed like Josh Pascal did everything right. He worked hard. He was a leader. He wasn't like all the things you are supposed to do as a player and a leader. When you captain 3 years, you're doing something right, right? If Josh Paschal said that, I might hold some truth to it. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what he is as a person, everything that he's done. When certain people say certain shit, first of all, why was he available to the media? That's one. That's number one. Second of all, you know,
no, that was on social media. That was on social media.
Somebody asked him on social media. I don't know if it was like.
Oh, somebody asked him. I thought it was a press conference.
Press conference. I don't like saying. I can't see him being invited on press conference.
I thought it was after practice, dude. You know how they pull a few players off? I thought it was that. I don't know. But you know, there's a level of comportment that you do as a player. I just can't imagine me saying, hey, Van, what's up with that coverage y'all gave that touchdown on? Man, Coach Smith fucking made a bad call, man. Dude, can you imagine? Dude, I might not, dude, he might pack they might have my locker packed before I got back. That's what
hey, man, it's good. Hey, it's good playing with y'all, man.
Can you imagine me saying, bro, they came out in Joker week, and I knew they were gonna run the smash route. Why the fuck would we be in cover whatever? That was a dumb move by the coach. It's straight coverage, guys. Hey, we making bad coverage calls in the secondary. That's why we getting beat.
Man, it's going in. It's going down. I still ain't got my question I was going to ask y'all. I am going to ask real quick. Will Levis said he didn't feel like his teammates played hard, called some of his teammates out. It might have been Crowders. It might have been other people. Is Will right for doing that? Because I think, as AJ said in the start, Will ain't exempt from being part of the problem. But we're going to get back to that because Adam Bryant has more questions. Adam Bryant must have been at the game because he got plenty of questions. He said, Valentine gets hurt. We put in a freshman man-to-man. No safety help. I don't know what that guy was doing on the inside, man. Could you please explain to me, whoever was standing in cement boots right there inside where the slant was coming right at him and he did not move, step forward, step back, step nowhere. And because we do know, we both know it's playing corners because we both were some of the best corners to ever play at UK until one of us got moved from corner. But you do not give up that inside because there's too much field. If you standing on this sideline, there's too much field over there. We're going to be on the sideline. Your quarterback has to make a perfect throw. Then we're going to play off that. So he says, the game, why did he call timeout? And Valentine go back in the game. Cobby Cobb confirms that Stoops said that he did not know Valentine could go back in the game after a timeout. I'm not sure if Stoops did not know that, but if he did, that's a damn shame. Where do we stand at this point, fellas?
Go ahead, AJ. I'm gonna let you go first.
Look, first of all, they only threw the ball to number 14. They ain't throw the ball to nobody else the entire damn game, except for that fourth down, right? Yep. But if I'm putting a freshman who has been standing on the sideline for 59 and a half minutes, I'm not putting them on the island one-on-one on fourth. It could be fourth and goal from the 50. I ain't putting them on the island one-on-one. You got to put them some help over top. You have to. Like, period.
But don't you have to run zone because of the quarterback's ability to run as well?
It was like 4th and 15. Let him run.
I thought he was talking about the slant on the.
But Valentine was back in on that play. Yeah, he just gave up the inside. He said on the biggest play, he said a freshman going man-to-man. That was a fourth down play, and we left him out there one-on-one on the island with no help over top. Well, let me take it back. I don't know.
There was no help over
all, but there was no help over
top. You're right.
There was no help over.
You're right.
And that can't happen. I don't care if you move the safety and stand them over the number over top of them. You say, I'm not letting you. We all know as players, you know, as soon as somebody gets hurt, especially in the secondary, you're like, hey, they're going to target whoever's coming in to replace this man. Everybody knows that. Most of the fans that are knowledgeable about the game know that. It's fourth down. I'm going to put a safety over top of you and make you go anywhere else to beat me. But you can't beat me on the kid that just came in the game. And honestly, he wasn't in terrible position on the play. He just got beat by a kid that probably had more reps and went and made a play on the ball. But you know how you counter that? You put him some safety help over top. You say, hey, you're gonna cover everything from his hip down below, and over top, we got you some help.
Hey, Van, ain't that what we witnessed with DK Metcalf on Lonnie Johnson? Not that he was a freshman, but he was
a little different, but a little bit. But he played though. Here is my thing. This is, and Anthony knows, I'm on the Jimmy's and Joe's 99.9% of the time. I'm always on the Jimmy's and Joe's. This was one of Brad White's worst call games since he's been here. First of all, and this is on Stoops too. What year was that when Florida played us here and got 2 wide open touchdowns on unguarded receivers? Remember that?
2017, maybe. It was
17 or 18.
It was the year before we went. It was the year before we went down there and beat them.
2018
was when we went down.
Yep, 2017. All right. And Stoops and the people in the press box inability to recognize shit. If you look at that play before the ball is snapped, they line number 3 outside the fucking numbers with the ball on the opposite hash. They spread out that guy so far where you can't go over the top unless you're just going to make that shit blatantly obvious. All right. When you saw the formation and you saw you got a guy, there's 2 options. First of all, option 1, call a fucking timeout. You know you in stress. You got 2 timeouts with a minute left on a 4th down and 11. One of the most important plays after the first 4th and 7. Call a fucking timeout. That's one. So let's say you wanted to keep him over there. Man, don't say that shit. He had one game where he played a call. Dude, Brad White is better than my house. Y'all fucking get on my nerves. All right. So you do that. If you want to play Maxwell, timeout, make them run something else, or you devise something to cover that. All right. Second thing, why the fuck does Maxwell have to be in the game? Why don't you put Andrew Phillips at corner and put a Fari at where Andrew Phillips is? That was the natural to me adaptation to that when Valentine got hurt. If you call a timeout, Valentine probably has a chance to fucking come back in the game. Why do you take 2 worthless damn timeouts in your pocket? You can't get a damn 3-finger basket or a damn box at Cane's with them timeouts. Why not? Why? I'm sorry, Lake Dog. I'm hot right now. Why not fucking use your timeout on 4th and 11 on a quarterback that can't fucking throw the ball? He is not. He's Lynn Bowden, a taller version.
You got to burn the timeout.
You got to.
Even if you don't put Valentine back in, you got to burn the timeout just to etch it in everybody's heads. Like, hey, we got to make sure that we all know where we're supposed to be on this play. I made the same argument. Sorry, I'm jumping ship here. I made the same argument last night with Coach Cal. Why would we save a timeout with 3-something seconds left to draw up that bullshit play to throw it back to Toppin to shoot a half-court shot? Burn the timeout when there's 3-point-something seconds left and set up a play to defend the inbound pass. Like, why are we wasting timeouts? And in that case, if you got a timeout, you gotta burn it. Even if it's like, hey, let's just settle everything down.
Yes,
Harrison, you're gonna stay in the game. This is how we're gonna line up. Is everybody clear on what we're doing here?
Or
I saw Adam Bryant's comment. It was definitely OPI. Like the way they officiate defensive pass interference. I think they look at the play and like look at the way that the players are positioned against each other, and that's why they throw flags versus if they see contact and if they see pulling. But on the flip side, if an offensive player is going to extend his arm to create separation, that's OPI every time. And you rarely see that get called because we give them so much grace, but that's an offensive pass interference. I don't care that it might come off biased because I'm a Kentucky fan, but you cannot physically move a player out of the way to go make a play on the ball. Period. Like it's OPI.
You know what's worse? And this is my last one on this. You know what's worse? What you could have done is why put him on the sideline away from your ass. You had the ball in the boundary. You could have coached his ass up during the play, pre-snap, during the snap, whenever. This is what you're going to do. Put him closest to you. Put Keydron all the way on. I don't care where 14 is. You got a new guy. Either you take him out, put him closer to you, and don't let them fucking expand his ass 30 yards away from the ball. I don't get it. And sometimes now being on the sideline as a coach, you don't see everything because it's just hard. That's why you got fuckers in the press box. They got a bird's eye view. Someone up there should have said, do y'all know they got Maxwell Harrison over on the bottom of the numbers by himself? Coach, I think we should call a timeout.
So I don't know who said it earlier, but to the touchdown play, Valentine and Shepard were going back and forth all day. There ain't no fucking chance I'm getting beat one-on-one for the bread at the end of the game by somebody that goes to Vanderbilt. I'm sorry. You call it what you want to, but with the game on the line and we've been chirping and you've been talking shit to me all game, ain't no way that I'm getting beat. Like, you're going to have to run through me. They're going to have to throw the flag. They're going to have to do everything they can. You're not catching this ball on me one-on-one. It just ain't happening.
Both of y'all. How many players y'all played for that had this fake bully persona where I'm going to try to pump myself up by doing the shit that he does? You know what great players do? They don't do that shit. Great players do it with their play. Now, it's not to say that they don't talk, but the shit that he does is over the top. Man. Great players don't do that. He's trying to be something that he wants to be, and he's trying to do that with all of this bullshit. The things that happen, and I say this all, Coach used to tell me, shit comes back to your ass. Shit comes back to your ass all day, every day. As a corner, when you out on that fucking island all the time, when you got 60 plus plays of motherfuckers coming at you all the time, and ain't the same players, damn receivers do this bullshit all the time, tap their ass out. When you do the shit that he does, football gods will come back on your ass. And in that game, and I'm just putting this on him, I could be completely wrong. Last week, I found out that he was potentially top 8 corner in the draft. Mel Kiper rated him at top 8. He was doing stuff in this game, trying so hard to make a play, not doing his technique, not doing what he's supposed to. Dude, that guy got beat on the play previous to that. That wide receiver was butt naked open. My damn 13-year-old daughter could have threw the ball to that guy if it wasn't fucking sorry-ass Mike Wright. He was beat, dude. And the thing that happened, since he was beat so bad, guess what he had to do? He had to recover. Guess how fast he had to run? He had to run like a scalding dog. Now he's out of whack, right? He's out of whack. Mike Wright throws up a fucking duck. Pull! So bad that the other receiver comes and hits him. If you don't think that's not football gods, you don't believe in football gods, because he got beat on a dude. He got beat on the simplest and the wackest ass whip route that I've seen ran by a good receiver ever. He bit on a fake ass whip route and bent to the outside like he was gonna get a pick on fucking 3rd and 11.
There's no reason.
Situational football. Why would you fucking break over there on 3rd and 11?
Let him throw it underneath
on a 5-yard route.
Just let him throw it underneath. Come up and make the tackle. Like, it's that simple.
Because he does this bullshit antics that he got to try to do that. Now I'm just old. I am almost 50. Maybe that's me being old. But
I'm definitely old man on the line now. I got there. I'm there now. It is what it is.
Sound football. 3rd and 11. Dude, all the picks I got at Kentucky, I never tried to get it. It's doing your job, playing your technique, doing your alignment assignment, and they fucking come to you. My pick 6 was the fucking craziest thing ever fucking drawn up for a pick 6. You are where you're supposed to be, and fucking Eric Zaire threw a ball right in my chest, and how the fuck could I miss it? You know what I'm saying? Why did he throw it? You know what? Why would you throw that? You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like I made a dive, like a great break on a ball or something. No, he fucking basically threw it to me. Be where you're supposed to be, and good things happen. Stop fucking trying to force shit.
Cobby Cobb says, I wonder if this goes to both of them. Cobby Cobb says, our worst offensive performance has come against the worst offensive SEC defenses. This has been an odd year. Someone else also said back before, I think it was Adam Bryant, do we think that we defensive coordinatorly called a softer game because it was Vandy? Like, why is it?
We did not. That was the opposite. We fucking blitzed way too much against these MFers. We look, and blitz I don't want to say blitz because we really don't blitz that much. We simulated zone blitz, but we were doing that in situations where you shouldn't have. You didn't have to, because with this guy, you don't have to fool him. You don't have to. You know how there's some, like, for example, next week you might have to fool Stetson Bennett. You can't just run base coverage and just let him pick you apart. There are certain quarterbacks you cannot do that against. This is a quarterback where you could have fucking told him, we're running fucking 3D and we bringing 4 guys, and he couldn't fucking beat it. There's certain guys where you can run your vanilla shit and fucking stop them. There was no reason for us to run an overload on one side, and then he's already, in the bad part about it, we overloaded to the field. This motherfucker can only read to the field because I had trips over there. Why would we bring it from the field? Why not bring it from the boundary? Because you need all the guys over there to cover all them fucking zones. Because he ain't good enough to come backside. He ain't. So you just took one of your guys out of the zone and made one guy do a little bit more than what he's supposed to, and on 3rd and fucking 11, they converted. That's the kind of shit, to me, you can't do against this quarterback. He's not good, dude.
I didn't think the play calling was terrible. I think, like, to Van's point, like, we made some incorrect plays executionally, but like the play calling wasn't, I don't believe, was poor. Like, at the end of the day, like, we can sit on here and bitch and yell about it, but like, we got better players and better coaching than Vanderbilt. We got to win that game. Smooth and simple. Period. Like, I don't care what he calls. I don't care if he don't call a defense. We got better players than the team we're playing against. Go win the game. Like, sometimes, like, we try to force narratives that don't exist. Like, we're supposed to beat that team. And I can say that because there was a point in time when I was at UK where there were teams that would line up and they were just better than us. Period. It didn't matter what we called. They were just better than us. And most of the time they beat us and they handled their business. We have to go and handle our business and win that game. And
look, go ahead, AJ.
I was just gonna say, and ultimately, it's a couple mental lapses can hurt you. You can give up a 50-something plus yard run, and it can cause an early touchdown because of one mental lapse. Like, that's the difference between defense and offense. Offense, you have a mental lapse. Maybe a kid gets hit in the backfield. Maybe you only get 2 instead of you getting 8. On defense, it can result in a score. You don't have a mental lapse on that play. I don't know if Vandy can drive the field and score. I don't know. I don't believe that they could, and they didn't show that they could until the last drive of the game.
How many people after C-Rod fucking went for 70+ yards start game over? How many when the momentum, it wasn't like a slow leak where you just slow, we got a break here, we got a break there. First fucking play, we go 70+ yards. I'm like, ball game. There ain't no way they fucking scoring on this defense. Not a touchdown. Not a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Dude, on this defense, that is, even with losing Square and Jock, we still was the second best defense in this conference. And your ass gave up the booty on a down 2 4th downs on an 80-yard drive. Just raw. Dude, you don't do that, man. I don't, like AJ just said, we are better, just straight up. This is one of the few teams that on paper that you just, from top to bottom, there's not one person on that team that could probably, well, I shouldn't say that. O-line maybe, but that O-line was a great team. I'm going to say this. There's probably not more than 2 players on that team that can come to Kentucky and play.
There was somebody said something about the 2-point conversion after that play. Somebody asked, he said, do you have a system for your 2-point conversions? Do you have a system at how you call 2-point conversions? It was asked in the press conference. And he says, well, it all depends. They said, well, do you want to see Rod in the game, or when you want to see Rod in the game on a 2-point conversion? And he says, something to the effect of, I don't make that call, or I don't know. It's something he didn't know. The reporter asked him, so C-Rod took himself out. The offensive coordinator again says something to the effect of, well, I'm not sure. I don't know.
I mean, the man did just run 75 yards. So if he took himself out, that's okay.
I've been in that situation. That's the worst thing.
Ran no 75-yarder.
No. But I ran. No. Not 70. That pick 6 was 60, I think. 60 yards. And it's not the run. It's all the antics that happen after the run. It's everybody piling on you and fucking holding you. And you got to push through all that shit to get to the sideline. And your ass is dog tired. So he did all that. If he would have went to 70 yards and went back to the huddle, he would have been all right. But just think about it. That field, you know what's crazy? This is the crazy part. That field is 53 1/3 yards wide. His ass ran further going from the sideline back to the bench than he actually fucking ran for the touchdown. That's the crazy shit people don't get. He ran 53 1/3 and probably another 40 back to the damn bench. You know what I'm saying? If you would have, this is a thing, and now I'm just reaching. I'm reaching on this. I got Gumby arms on this one. Do you tell your offense when you score before the series that you're going for 2? Because if you do, he wouldn't have ran to the sideline. If you do, he would have scored and ran right back to about the 12-yard line and got ready to be in the huddle.
Well, that's something I think they should have been thrown in from the sideline once he scored. Everybody should have been over there throwing up. Should have been. It goes to Cow's question. We play down to the level of competition way too often. Is that a coach thing or a player thing? Player.
Bro, the competition is the competition. Like, I don't care what Coach Brooks said during the week. I'm going out there to compete against the dude I'm playing against. So I can't blame a coach for not getting you ready, not getting you hyped up, not bringing your energy. That's on you as a competitor. And you got to win your individual battle. And if all 11 of y'all do that, you're going to be successful. That ain't got nothing to do with coaching. They shouldn't have to get you excited to play this game on this level. Granted, it ain't a top 10 matchup. The stadium ain't full. It's ugly. It's rainy. It's cold. I get it. But that's why you here. You here to play football. And most of these guys, I would assume, want to try to play at the next level. So you putting film out there for your career, hopefully, next time. And you only get 12, 13, 14 of these chances. So you can't take one for granted. When you step out on that field, it's your one-on-one battle every single play. Period. It ain't got nothing to do with coaching. So, like, if you want to point the finger at somebody playing down the competition, that's on players. I don't think that was the case. I just feel like we wasn't dialed in. I don't say that as playing down to your competition. I say everybody ain't locked in on what they're supposed to be doing. That's mental. That ain't playing down to your competition.
I'm gonna say this. That's fan speak. Playing down your competition is purely fan speak. But I'm about to piss some people off right now. Everybody wants Kentucky to be a football school. Everybody fucking says all this stuff. We've gotten this whole discussion before the season, football, basketball, all this shit.
We're actually a cheerleading school, but go ahead.
Right? No, we actually fucking rifle school.
Rightfully.
Yeah, cheerleading does have more. Recency bias.
Volleyball.
Killing. All right. If we are a football school, football schools don't say, oh, we're not going to game because it's Vandy. Football schools don't say, oh, it's cold outside and a little miserable. Football schools don't say, it's duck season or whatever, so we're going to go hunting instead of going to football game. So sometimes as fans, we want shit, just like the whole NIL, and not trying to figure out a way to do it. But we'll complain our ass off. Oh, well, the NIL is doing this. If you are a football school, you don't do the shit that we do at Kentucky. And this ain't a recency. This ain't a recent thing. This has been happening for forever. Football fans, true football fans don't say, oh, why would I go watch Vandy? Oh, why would I go watch Northern Illinois? Oh, why would I go watch Miami of Ohio? Real fans are going to come to all the fucking games and pack them bitches up. Period. So some of y'all who wants to fucking complain about stuff, sometimes you have to look in the mirror, because in that game, when all these other games were we affected upon pre-snap procedures, with energy, because the offense don't get energy from the fans. Know who gets the energy? The fucking defensive players. I'm sorry, Lake Dog, this season. Defensive players get the energy from the fans. We might have needed that in that damn fourth quarter with 4 minutes left on the fucking clock. Maybe shit would have happened a little differently with a little more fan support, with a little more people in the stands. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, because some of y'all want to come on this shit on Beyonce's Twitter and Beyonce's internet and say this shit, but y'all ain't willing to hold yourself to the fire. It don't matter whom we playing. If it's a fucking Saturday, football schools that I know of, fans are fucking there.
My dog Trill Withers said it. He said, that's facts. Football school stands full regardless. And I don't know about y'all, but I watched that Auburn A&M game that night.
Toilet bowl.
And Jordan Hare was rocking the entire night. And sure, is everybody there to cheer for Cadillac, and that's one of their own, and he's coaching the team? I get there's some extra juice there. But They 3-6, y'all. They ain't got a
Trash.
damn thing to play for. And I don't like we can bitch and moan and argue about what we thought Kentucky should have been this year based on our talent coming back. But Auburn expects that every single year.
Every year.
And they 3-6. And that thing was rocking the entire time. And like Van was saying, like, we playing against a backup quarterback that lost his job twice.
You're right.
He cannot throw. You don't think a little bit of crowd noise and making that communication harder probably makes that day a little bit tougher for him? And I'm raising my hand. I'm not outside of this. I got season tickets. I have 2 tickets, and we was not in attendance Saturday. So I'm just as guilty as everybody else that wasn't there. For sure.
Trash.
For sure. But that's what separates when you look at it and you're trying to identify as like a football school, like that ain't about, it's about wins and losses and stuff, but the difference in football schools, like purely football schools, them fans are going to be there. They're going to be like Neyland Stadium got 105,000. They was ass for like the last 12 years. But they were still putting 80, 90,000 in there every Saturday. Like if you want it to be a real argument, if you want this to really be a bickering back and forth about basketball school and football school, show up. Prove it. Like show up and prove it and pack out Kroger, Commonwealth, whatever. I call it Commonwealth. Pack it out every day or every Saturday that we got a home game. Be loud as shit. And regardless if we win or lose, you show up the next Saturday and you do the same thing. Period.
And look, and I'm going to say this. I'm not coming. Anthony knows this. I'm not fucking coming and sitting in no stadium in November. Ever. It ain't happening.
Shit, I'll sit in the stadium in November versus September any day of the week.
If we're playing in the Music City Bowl, it's the bowl game. I'm not going to. If we playing in Liberty Bowl, it's a bowl game. I'm not sitting in sub 50 temperature weather. I'm also not the one who's fucking talking about we are a football fucking school. You won't hear that from me. I'm not fucking out here cheering for blah, blah, blah and all this bullshit. But the ones who are you at the game? That's all.
I was gonna say I just don't understand the reasoning for. Like, I get that Cal made the comment and we had to talk about it, but like, I don't understand why it's carried. I don't understand why it carried on the next day. More or less, we're 4 or 5 months removed and still talking about it. Like, why does it matter? Like, I think objectively, what Cal said was true. We are not Georgia. We are not Alabama. That is a factual statement. Do we want to get there? Yes, but you can't go from A to B without taking the necessary steps, period. Like, that shit don't happen overnight. And so for Cal to come out and say that, I'm not saying that it doesn't impact recruiting, because it could potentially. And Cal, as a primary recruiter, should know that. Should not compare another sport to other sports in our field, no doubt. But ultimately, if you can't look at that comment and say that there's truth behind that comment, then you're part of the problem. Like, you can't be so Kentucky blinded and focused that you don't look at the obvious things. We're not at that level yet. There are steps to get there. Georgia just won a national championship. Alabama got like 6 in the last 15 years or whatever. Like, there are steps to get there. Are we competing and trying to get there? Absolutely. Are we in a better spot now than we have been for a large majority of our history? Absolutely. But that don't mean that overnight, now we're a football school. We still got steps to get there. Period.
I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to let y'all have at this comment. But I work in the media, local media, and fans don't really go. Basketball fans don't really go to these preseason games. They go to most of the SEC games and the big games they go to, but they don't go to. They just like the football fans, probably even worse. They don't go to the K-State or whoever we played the game before. That thing probably was half packed. But Adam Bryant believes that Kentucky is a football state. If you don't believe him, just go out and watch games on Friday nights.
I'm not saying that it's not. I'm aligned with you all.
I'm saying it's not.
But you got to show up and
AJ,
prove
this
it.
your last time on the locker if you can't keep it 100.
You got to.
This your last time on the locker.
You got to show up and prove it. Like, period. We can't consider ourselves a football school if it ain't packed out. Like, that's just the rule.
You can't compare high school football when it's a community. You got communities out here that only has one high school in their county or in their parish. So on a Friday night, yes, it's a fucking event because you ain't got nothing else to fucking do. Where I'm from in Louisiana, there ain't too many big cities here. All these rural cities, football is life. And football is life, and basketball is life. Every sport is life because that's their entertainment. They're not living in Chicago or Miami or Dallas or LA where they got an abundance of shit to do. On Friday night, where my parents are from, guess what? They got a Sonic. You know what happens? Everybody's at the Sonic. After game, Sonic is fucking making a shit ton of money because that's the only place to fucking go. So you go to the football game and then you go to Sonic. It's every Friday. And basketball games, you go to basketball games, you go to Sonic. It's different. It's just when you have when your school is in a neighborhood, in a community, that community rallies around sports. So don't compare, on Friday nights, no matter where you play football, you go to Kansas and play 8-man football, they got a fucking pack house too. Because that's all they got to do. That's a bad comparison. So if you're going to label Kentucky a football state just because of the fans at football, do they not? I've seen many films and tapes of basketball games. I've seen some fucking fights at Kentucky basketball games. So
sure. For sure.
No, they want to know. I'll tell you, I don't know. Even with Vandy saying it ain't a whole lot to do in Twinsburg, but basketball and football, we was like, I don't know what what's the name of that movie with Tupac in it, the basketball movie.
Above the Rim?
Above the Rim. That's how I was at Twinsburg Chamberlain. It was people standing on the walls, and it wasn't even made like that. It just wasn't enough room for y'all to get in the gym.
Right.
And Friday night football was like that. But Twinsburg ain't a big city, so people want to see us play. They want to know, is Frederick Douglass High School a pipeline that's worth it for the University of Kentucky? And that it means Dacale Crowders. That means Jagger Burton.
Danke.
Got over Danke. We got Ty Bryant coming in next year. So
he's balling out, dude. Ty Bryant is fucking. I'm gonna be honest with you. We had him on, right? Yeah. When was that? Last year or was the year before? Was it season 2?
Year before.
We had him on.
I was asking if they gonna win the championship last year.
Right, you're right. He was on. And I'm looking at this kid from obviously camera view. I'm like, ooh, he seems a little small.
Oh, no, he ain't small.
That's what I'm saying. But that year, when we had him, he like a little thin in the neck. I'm like, he a little small. But he committed early.
Yeah.
Dude, he is a fucking menace right now. Now, as I say always, I pump my brakes when it comes to Kentucky high school football. But I can still see the talent level. Doesn't matter who you're playing. Anybody can see talent. And the kid has fucking talent. He has really, really, really good talent. And speaking with him, I think his head is screwed on right. I think he's going to go about it the right way. And he's going to be successful on the next level just because he's got it right here and he's got it right here. Fuck the talent. He's right in the right spots. And you add talent onto that, he's going to be successful. And I can only see him being fucking great on this level for us.
Yes, I'm in Tennessee, so transparently, like I don't keep up with a ton of the high school recruiting shit. Like I'll watch you when you get here. If I come across your highlights, I'll watch it. But ultimately, like Van was saying, like talent is talent, And like, if I could watch you and just see some of the things you do, I can see if you'll fit in the SEC program. But as Kentucky football, we have to dominate recruiting in the state. So if Frederick Douglass is going to continue to be like one of the top tier high schools in the state, then it's got to be a pipeline for us. Because you can't, if there's talent in state, it needs to be coming to our school. Plain and simple.
Van, you think Ty gonna play corner? I say absolutely not, but that's Van's thing. I say he plays safety.
With the way teams attack you now, safeties are not old school safeties. Safeties are really a hybrid that can come in down the box and play some man-to-man when need be. I don't know, man. We'll see. Look, it's kind of like right now, like when we played, it was like you got 2 safeties and you got 2 corners. And if you have 8 corners, 6 of them motherfuckers just not gonna play. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, that's how it was. Because you had to have a certain mindset to play safety. You might only have 2 safeties, and you might have 6 corners. The 2 safeties gonna play the whole game. You might play 4 corners, right? And nowadays, I think you play your best 4, regardless, because a lot of guys can cross. So you play your best 4, and sometimes you play your best 5. I'm gonna say this: what I've seen this year after fucking Afari, out of Alex Afari, he might be a fucking every down outside linebacker. He might be. I've seen he took on a fucking guard this game. I'm like, fuck, dude, you a freshman? If he gets in this offseason program, he might become a linebacker just naturally just by fucking picking on that weight. Right. So I say we'll see. I think he's good enough to play on this level, and that's the key. Can he play? I will say he can play, and I don't know what he's gonna play at. He can play nickel. He can play corner. I don't know. Safety is a fun spot in today's game. It's a fun spot because you can do a lot now, more than what you back in the day. You had to fucking be downhill with a thick ass neck and be able to fucking take on fullbacks. If that linebacker not there and you in that box, you better be able to take on that fullback. Yeah. Nowadays it's a different game.
When I was coming out of high school, Marshall came to visit and they wanted me to play strong safety at Marshall. And I was probably, at the time, probably like a smooth 240. And he was like, oh yeah. And he was like, if you could drop like 20 pounds before you get to campus, we'll make it work. Oh yeah. Marshall wanted me to play strong safety.
There you go.
It was a whole different ball game there.
Whole different ball game.
Man.
Damn, they said 240. Hey, man, you could drop you in this damn box. Make you 8-man box.
Because the way we played, we had 2 pretty solid interior linebackers, but they wasn't as athletic. So I played like a rover position. So I played out of the box mostly, and then I could come in and field. But the way, like the dude, I don't know if y'all remember this dude, but his name was Brandon Warren. He was like,
yeah,
top 3 tight end coming out of Tennessee back in the early 2000s. He was at Alcoa with Randall and some of them other kids, but we had scrimmaged them in the spring leading into the season and into the fall. And so since he was the top recruit, we had a lot of coaches come in, and I basically had him one-on-one the whole scrimmage. So that's how I got on Marshall's radar. And they was like, we like the way that you move with your feet, so we could play you at safety. Granted, I got to college. I don't think I ever saw a day below like 238. So there was no way I was ever going to play safety. But listen, I'd have been downhill. I don't know how many people I'd have covered, but I'd have been downhill. That part I'd have had for sure.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. We're going to wind up, tying down right here. My final question was,
do we need a special teams coach? Yes. I just want to bring that up again.
I want to bring
it up again because last week Van was pounding on the table saying we didn't have a coordinator when y'all played. Each position coach had a specific role that they coach. But for me personally, like Coach Ort was so prepared that he was overly prepared. So all 11 of us for every special team were overly prepared. There wasn't a single, granted, we got kicks blocked. Don't get it twisted. Like, we weren't perfect, but like more times than not, we were a positive towards us winning a game. And my argument for needing a special teams coordinator is right now, outside of maybe 2 games this season, our special teams have been a negative for games. Like, we continue to come back to this fact of, if we don't leave points on the board, we beat Ole Miss. If we don't get kicks blocked, we're in the game this week and it's tied and we're going to overtime. If we don't, get kicks blocked, if we don't miss an extra point against Ole Miss a couple of years ago, we're tied and going into overtime. Like, every single point of the way, like, we've made mistakes in the kicking game that have cost us, whether it be not coming to field punts, so we're losing hidden yardage on punts, whether it be holding penalties because we're not properly in position, we're not getting to our landmarks and getting blocks, so we're negating our field position when offense starts. All that shit starts to pile up. And if you've got a guy who is specifically in charge of that, I believe that you're less likely to have those issues. That's just me personally. That's why I think. And if you look at these teams that, like, these, again, football schools, shit, look at their coaching staff. They got 17 quality control dudes for every position. We can hire a special teams coach, y'all. Like, to me, it seems like a bitter, not a bitter thing, but it seems like a headstrong thing of like, oh, I don't want to hire a special teams coordinator. And it just seems like an easy fix to have somebody who is purposefully coaching our players for those specific spots in the game. Period.
Vanderbilt?
This is my statement on special teams coordinator. I'm not saying we should not get one. I'm not saying that we don't need one. What I'm saying is that ain't the reason why we missing fucking field goals. When your kicker, when all he's fucking doing is this. I don't know what they're doing now, but Anthony, I can say this from when we played. We had punters and kickers. They was on the other field, and all they fucking did was punt and kick. That's all they did. You ain't got too many special team coaches who can teach a guy how to kick a field goal. He already knows that. It's between the ears on game day. Whatever happened between Florida and now, Ruffalo has lost his confidence because that motherfucker kicked 250 yarders. I'm not talking about the punts. I'm not talking about, although we have a couple blocks. I'm talking about, as we said, the extra points and the field goals we leaving on the field. That's from the damn kicker. It's the whole system, whole protocol from the snapper to the holder to the kicker. That execution is horrible.
A lot of their time spent during practice was isolated on other fields, no doubt. But like Coach Ort was timing snap to holds every day, snap to punts every day. Coach Ort was coaching on trajectory and landmarks for, getting the ball off your foot in a certain amount of time so you can negate the opportunities to block it, or having the right trajectory in your steps so that you're getting enough height on your ball. I think, like, to your point now where we talk about the full system, Ruffalo's got a strong leg. There's no doubt about it. His trajectory is bad.
Horrible.
Like, the balls just come out way too low. Like, fat-ass defensive linemen, unless they're just bulldozing over our guards and stuff, they shouldn't be blocking kicks. Like, the way that we set it up, we used to have a guy, like a tall little lanky dude that could jump. We would put him behind the D lineman. The D lineman get the push, and then you're going up with both hands to block it. Like, that's how we set it up. You should never have a defensive lineman blocking the kick. That just means that you're not protecting inside, or you're getting blown over too quickly, or the trajectory's too low. That's the only two things it can be. But like, to your point, like in some of the comments here, you get a bad snap. And I ain't talking about like a horrible where it's like snap past him. If he can't catch it and put it down in like 0.2, that's a bad snap. If he's got if he's got to stop the ball because it's low, or if he's got to reach up and get it, that's additional time in that process. And that throws off your kicker. And if your kicker's not comfortable in that rhythm, he's going to be off, and it's going to throw off, his kick. And that's why I say, like, having someone who is dedicated to that philosophy and that mindset puts us in a better position to win.
Here's my biggest problem with PAT and field goals. They have changed so many fucking rules in football that they have made the kicking game easy. You know why they made the kicking game easy? Because you can't line a motherfucker over the center. So you got that little distance from here, from the width of your fucking center to kick the ball in, because no one is there. And if you got someone who can jump that high on a 20, 30-yard field goal, you got fucking go-go gadget arms. It is no way we should be missing PATs with nobody who can be over the center. PATs should be automatic. Should be, because there's nobody fucking there. That doesn't make any sense. Now the field goals, if you're on a hash, then you can get a guy because what they do, they'll overload that side, then you can get a hand up. But PATs, come on, man. It's in the center field. You should not miss those.
Agreed.
I will say this. Somebody said earlier, recruiting. I do believe Jackson Smith, son of one of my former teammates, Andy Smith, out, I think, in Danville, Boyle County area. Should give it a chance. I want to ask you guys this before I get to my final question, final Jeopardy, and we get out of here. Is it time to show Ruffalo the hook? I feel kind of like Ruffalo, like I felt with Devin Askew, keep being asked to go out there and run point guard, and it was painful watching him. It's not a knock on him.
You're right. No, you're right.
But to keep sending them out there, if I was a parent, I would snatch my kid. If it was Little League, you snatch your kid off. Nope, you're not about to embarrass my kid. So I wonder, are we at that point with Ruffalo? Ruffalo kick, low kick, rough or low kick.
I'm not there with Ruffalo. I'm not. And the only reason I say that is because, like, I think there's other pieces of this process that are also equally as bad. Like Ruffalo, like, let's not forget, he hit 2 out of 3, which is a step up from where we've been. But he hit 2 out of 3 Saturday. All right. And if the kick ain't blocked, he's gonna hit that third one if the kick's not blocked. Now, if we're not coaching him on, like, the trajectory issues, that's the only part he can control, and his rhythm and timing. And I do believe that's off, because, like, if you look at some of the kicks, like, sometimes he's not approaching the ball until it's caught and it's down. Sometimes he's already moving forward before the ball's positioned. There's a lot of different rhythms and tempos that he's throwing out there that are, ultimately putting us in a bad position. But unless we're gonna address the snapping and the holding too, then I can't just say that it's on Ruffalo. And to Craig B's point, like, we ain't Stonewall up front either. So, like, part of the reason why we're getting kicks blocked is because somebody's getting their ass whooped right beside our snapper, and then they're blocking kicks. Again, a 90-something number blocked the kick Saturday. That man ain't jumping to block kicks. He's whooping somebody's ass in front of him and getting a hand up. That's the issue. And I think there's a lot of pieces in there that need to be addressed. Personally, I think Ruffalo can kick the ball fine. Like, has he had some short spots where he hasn't looked as well? For sure. But I think there's a lot of other pieces to this that's not necessarily on the kicker. That's just me.
Okay. Before we go, 2 questions. We're going to send people to La La Land in a good mood. AJ first, Vane second. And I may or may not follow up if need be. Hey. 1, what is the good at this team right now? What are you loving about this team right now? First, this. Then last thing is, what are you loving about this team? What makes you smile about this team? But before that, is somebody getting fired this year?
Yes. Next question. Somebody's getting fired this year.
Okay, and the second one, what do you love about this team?
Honestly, like I love what our defense has shown this year. I have for the totality of the year. I've loved what our defense has shown. Coming into the year, it was a big negative to have Vito hurt and not be available. I think Geiger didn't play much either, if I remember.
Yeah,
we were starting a new corner in key at corner, so there was some I think there were some pieces up there that were we needed to identify ourselves. We no longer had pass rush that we had in previous years off the edges. So I thought that if anything, that team would take a step back or be about what they were last year. I think this defense is better than it was last year. And ultimately, that makes me smile because we should bring damn near all these pieces back next year outside of our linebackers. I know those guys are moving on, but like the new kids that we got playing linebacker, they can play too. And I think a lot of the things that they are not doing as well, or the areas of the game where they're getting exposed right now, are because of a lack of snaps and a lack of like visual experience of being the starter. I think a lot of those hash themselves out next year, and then you bring back a lot of that cohesiveness of the defense. You add in some couple good pieces that we've got. Hopefully some of these recruits start to develop and play again. I think the defense is going to be a very big strong point for our team next year. So that makes me smile. And I think for the majority of this season, the defense has been good enough to put us in a position to be where we probably all expected to be. The frowning part of that is I think I'm probably like most people where I thought we would just roll out of bed and have a good line. Like I had gotten to the point where I just expected that to happen, and we're not there right now. And it's frustrating because we had been there, but I think it also puts us in a position where now we can't just expect things to happen. Like we have to continuously work and get better at that. I think there's improvement to be made. Like we can bitch and moan about how bad they've been this year, but again, snaps, seeing different stunts, seeing different approaches and ways defenses are going to attack you. Like, doesn't matter how bad you are in the sense of it. When you get to break all that film down and come back the next year, you're going to be better. Now, they might not be world beaters, but they're going to be improved because they've had that process now. So, I mean, like, take with that what you will. It's not making me smile right now, but I think in future instances, I think I will be smiling about our line because we're taking our lumps now.
So you're saying Yinzer getting fired? That's what I heard you say. Van,
somebody on the offense is getting fired. I don't know who it is, but somebody on the offense is getting fired.
Van Sellers gone. Sales, what's his name?
Settle. I'm gonna say this: we got a couple coaches, and one of them is our boy whose contract expires after the season. It's gonna be interesting. It might not be. It might not be only who you think it is. There might be some boys who contracts are up this year, or they're gonna be renewed. That's an interesting. There's a couple of them. I think Settle was one. I think Collins is one, and Stu is one. I think those are the three. So someone is getting fired just off top. And not fired. Oh, no. You said fired, though. That's not being retained. So that's a difference. Someone is getting fired. Nah, if they don't renew your contract, is that really being fired?
Hey, if your company calls you tomorrow and they're like, hey, don't come back to work next week. That sounds like fired to me. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, that's going to be somebody fired. What makes me smile, and AJ just said it, the best thing that could have happened to this team this year is DeAndre Square and Jock Jones coming back. Even though they are hurt, they showed D-Jack, Thrower, and Wallace how to be a professional and how to prepare for games, how to get yourself ready Monday through Friday to play your best on Saturday. That's the best thing that could have happened to these guys, because if not, I'm not sure that they would be where they are now, because there is something. My freshman year, I had Don Robinson, Willie Cannon, and Adrian Sherwood that showed me in different manners how to prepare every day, which I had no idea coming from high school. I was one of the best players on my team, one of the best players in my area. I'm just going to do what I do, right? You just go off of your talent. I had no idea how to prepare each week as a defensive player, and they kind of laid it out for me. Now, obviously, I put my own spin on it, but at least I had a template to go from. And I think that's the big advantage for them, because as a freshman, your head sometimes is spinning. You don't pay attention. But that second year, this year, they are paying attention. And having those two guys, those true professionals who've been playing college football for 15 years and has had 10 million snaps, they have showed those young boys how to do it and do it the right. There's nothing better than having a professional mentor, not just any mentor, the right mentor. And those two guys will elevate these young kids higher than they ever thought they would be, because they know how to play the game right here. And that's so important.
All right. I am with most of the people in the comment section. Makes me happy is we got a lot of young talent. And the one thing about it, we top heavy and low heavy, bottom heavy. We got a lot of upperclassmen talent, and we got a lot of young talent. So these youngsters they're gonna take some more lumps next year, and the older guys are gonna be going about their way. So the future looks bright, but the very near future, maybe a learning curve. So
can I say something real quick about our boy Stu? This is the shit that pisses me off about fans. And when y'all in the comments, I'm gonna just say this: I love y'all. I appreciate y'all watching, but we're in the locker. This is how we talk in the locker, right? Y'all didn't say shit about Stu last year when Josh Paschal was fucking going off. Y'all didn't say shit about Stu last year when Ox as a freshman was balling out. Y'all didn't say shit about Stu a couple years ago when fucking Bully and damn Hoskins were balling out. I don't want to hear this shit about Stu can't coach. Y'all fucking got some recency bias, and it pisses me off. That man can flat out coach. Y'all just conveniently forget the players that he's had, and he's coached them to be on a higher level. And here's another thing. Josh Allen, 2018, specifically said how much Stu and Brad White helped him. So are you telling me that a coach forgets how to fucking coach? The best jack linebacker we have had in school history specifically pointed out Stu as a guy who has helped him become a fucking better pass rusher. I don't want to hear that shit. Don't want to hear it. And I'm not saying it's just people on here. It's shit. I don't watch TV. I read a lot, and I read a lot of fucking posts. And if you don't know how petty I am, I'm a petty motherfucker. And I bookmark a lot of shit. I bookmark a lot of shit. What I see and what I read is some bullshit. And I'm sick of it, because y'all don't say shit when things are going well. How the fuck Ox would have been a freshman all-SEC guy if he didn't fucking get hurt? Do you think he just came magically here and fucking learned how to do all that shit? Or did he have a damn good-ass coach? So I want to hear that shit. All right, Anthony, I'm sorry.
Bravo, man. Bravo. Needs to be said. I don't be on Twitter that much as you. I just stay on the family section. I stay on Facebook, where it's all family news. I don't be on Twitter. Everybody got a damn opinion. And if I just want to look at glorified stuff, then I go to Instagram. If I want to laugh, I go to TikTok. Man, I don't mess with that Twitter, boy. Everybody got their opinion.
You're right.
I can't do Facebook.
No, I can't do it no more either.
Can't do Facebook.
Blickenstaff, I did play with David Johnson. He was one of the most athletic guys, man. Really good. Outside of being an athlete, one of the best guys, man. He was a professional, even when I met him as a freshman, man. So, yeah. Man, yeah, we did like the rant. Ox lost too much weight, needs to pack that weight back on. I had a hell of a time trying to gain weight. Apparently, AJ ain't had that problem. He was probably on the weight loss team. I was on the weight gain. Me and Little Tamor, we had the compression shorts on, putting them 5 for. I started off putting 2.5. Then it got to the point, man, I was putting 10-pound plates in the back of my
Hey, Cobby, I want people to understand. This program has strength and conditioning, nutritional staff that's out of this world. Ox just didn't lose that weight on its own. He had to be allowed to lose that weight. You have to be allowed. You have to get checked out that you can lose weight. You don't just lose weight. They are on your ass. Trust me. If you are too heavy or too light, they're on your ass. He lost that weight probably because of the fucking knee. Remember, the guy had a knee injury in the middle of the season last year. Sometimes you got to take some of that pressure off that knee for him to be able to come back and perform. So if you didn't want him to play, then he could have sat probably half the year and got his weight up. But if you want him to play, he probably had to get a little lighter so he won't put too much pressure on that knee. He's too light to save his knee.
All right. Well, we appreciate you. Me and Van gonna talk about next Wednesday because it is the holiday. I will not be in town, so we're gonna see what's going on.
It all depends on how the game is, Anthony. It's TBD. It's TBD.
And don't give me no long rant because I got to get out of here. Damn,
yo, go ahead, man. Yeah.
But I do want to ask you: we get 40 piece?
I don't think Georgia
buy 40. Buy 40.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think Georgia get low 30s. Georgia just ain't gonna. They're just not that explosive. That clock is gonna run a lot. We're gonna be running. They're gonna be running. That clock is gonna fucking tick, 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 tick.
Do we score?
Woo!
Do we score? Just watch the films of the last couple Georgia games. We all know what Georgia was last year. And I'll die on this hill. If DeAndre Square dives on that ball, or it was either him or Jock. I think it was Jock, actually. If Jock dives on that ball, on that loose fumble, it's 0-0 at the end of the first quarter, and it's a totally different ball game.
Or if he picks and go house.
I'm not saying that we're as good as we were last year. I'm not saying Georgia's as good as they were last year. But we've competed against them very well, for the majority of games the last couple of years. And the one thing about Stoops, every time we've doubted this man and been fed up with the team, we come back and we fight our asses off. I don't expect us to win by any means, but I do believe that this team will come out, show their ass, and I think they'll play a little bit harder. I don't see a 40-piece. I don't see it.
Now the question is, are we going to score?
Are we going to score? I'm going to stand beside it. We're going to score. We're going to score.
Wow.
Listen, Missouri scored. Missouri scored on them.
Missouri scored 20-something on them.
South Carolina scored on them.
Yeah.
Vandy did. I don't think Vandy scored on them. But we've looked at the plays. We're offensively good enough that if we execute, we can have success.
For sure.
And Georgia is not alleviated or removed from that success. We can have success against them too if we do the things that we're coached to do. I think we score. I would say something kind of like 31-10.
Ooh, you putting a 10-piece up. Shit. If we score 6, I'll be happy. If we score more than 6, I'll be happy. I just don't see us put. It took us a long time to score last year. It took us everything to go right for the score last year, and we had a better offensive line. Unless, I would say this, if something clicks and the football guys pray down on us and sprinkle some football smart dust, on that offensive line and they click and we fucking block like we'll block some plays, we can run against them. I'm not saying we're going to put up 400 yards rushing, but we can get 200. And if we get 200 yards rushing, that's gonna take the air out of the ball, and they won't get the possessions, and we should be able to score at least 6 points. That's not funny.
We're gonna miss an extra point then, right?
Anthony, how many points did we score against Tennessee?
6. I'll answer that one. I was about to say something wild, like I'll get the locker tattoo if we ran for 200 yards. I don't know if we run it against. I don't know if we run it for 200. We might get 200. But
we want to keep Will. We want to keep Will healthy and just run the clock and get out of there. We can get 200 yards of rushing.
How many yards did C-Rod have on Saturday? 160?
180, I thought.
Something like that.
168. He's still on target. I think he's still on target.
C-Rod can get you 120.
So what do you need? 2 more games, like 130, 150 or something?
Something like that.
And now they count bowl games, so
I don't know if he's gonna play.
Anthony. If he can put up 100 and you said 70, 80 on Vandy, he can put a 2-piece up on Louisville.
Oh, there you go. Here we go counting our eggs again.
No.
Eggs against Vandy.
I'm just saying if he could put up 160. Dude, he's had 100 yards, I think, every game except one this year. If he gets close to whatever, 100 against Georgia, he can put up a 2-piece on Louisville.
Louisville got to prove to me that they can stop us from running for 250.
Exactly.
First of all, they ducked us the COVID year. The year before that, we ran for like 500. The year after that, we ran for like another 3-something. Like, they got to prove to me that they can stop us from running for 250.
And they haven't recruited that defensive line any better than they were a few years ago. So
you guys got to make sure. Remember that Will Levis is on the NFL train, and they got to make sure to showcase his talents. So Chris Rodriguez is going to have to share the spotlight with Will's arm.
Well,
they better remember that we're playing Georgia.
They ain't doing it on Saturday.
They ain't
doing it on Saturday.
They better protect Will. I think the best way for us to be successful starts with number 24, and everything has to evolve from running the ball with 24.
And his ass
121 yards a game, I think, including the bowl game as well.
He needs to.
So I think he can eat a lot of that. Whatever he don't get against Georgia, he probably can make up against.
He needs to stop doing. He does this a little too much for me right now.
Is he hurt?
He must be.
I think didn't they say who was that with ribs?
He's hurt.
Was he the one with ribs or was it Jutan with ribs? Jutan.
I think Jutan had a concussion. I think his head hit really hard.
Ribs. I think they said ribs.
I think it's ribs.
Okay, because if that's the case, Anthony, then you know you can't breathe with them fuckers.
Oh yeah. But him and Benny said that I have a problem with it like it did when I had them. When I had them boys, I'm running with the ball like this. Now don't hit me over here. Shoot, they seem to do well with it. So it is what it is.
Come on, man. Don't put more. Hey, Ant, it's 11 o'clock for you, brother. I don't want to keep you up.
All right, man. AJ, we appreciate you, man. Joining us, man.
I appreciate y'all.
You got any contacts you want to share? You do any media things? Your handles on social media? Share those with the people.
They all the same. It's at Mr. Nance _47. Hopefully y'all follow me and don't get too offended with the way I talk crazy during the game. I appreciate y'all having me on. Happy to come back and chat with y'all whenever. Van, good luck this weekend or this week.
Appreciate it.
I heard you say you got one of your first November playoff games, so best of luck there. And you let me know. Whenever I come back and be on, I'm all about it. Y'all just let me know.
Hey, man, we always welcome the former players, and that's why it's the locker room. That's why it's the locker. We want people to know that these ain't me and Van's, just me and Van's opinions and thoughts. former players all think the same about this bullshiggity going on. So. Y'all always want to discuss that, man. We like to appreciate all y'all for watching and tuning in for a 2-hour show. Man, head on over to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We ain't got TikTok yet. Like, subscribe, share, follow. Come back next week. Pay attention to social media this week because we will let you know what's going to happen on Wednesday. We got to talk off air if we're going to do a broadcast on Thanksgiving Eve. Until then, we'll see y'all next show. Peace out.